Today I will be talking about some code I wrote for the week 4 homework. Now we were writing this code in response to a series of 13 questions, some of which were sub-questions, simply just showing our knowledge of the use of different arrays and methods. Now I ended up using methods for every single question, even though only half of the questions required it, so though it simply asks for short lines of code in some of them, I went ahead and put methods simply for a cleaner look of the code and also so that I could practice methods. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to run the code, which I've already started to run it, and simply just go through it as it runs. So it starts with an array that we were supposed to build with given parameters. So that is built right here. And then it wants us to take, subtract the first element from the last element of the array. And so that's done here. Now it wants us to add an element to the array, which will change what that method ends up getting, because this is now the last element of the array. Then it wants us to take the average of the array, and that would be the average of all the elements. Now it gives us a new array. This is a string array of names. Now the average name length in this array is 3. Since it's an integer, it won't show the exact decimal. It'll just round down. It'll cut off the decimal. Now it wanted us to loop the array into a single string on a single line, simply separated by spaces, so that is what is done here. Then it wanted me to show that I could find the first and last elements of any array, so I simply showed, through my code, the last element of the ages array, the last element of the names array, and then the first element of both those arrays as well. Now we create a new array from the name lengths in the names array. Now that is reflected here. The total number of the lengths of all the names in the array is 23, so that's all the characters that are actual characters combined. Now this will simply end up with this string repeated as many times as I give the integer. So I'm going to give, as a simple string, just yo, and then I'm going to do that 2 times to make yo-yo. Then this is going to create a full name, so I'm going to put my first name and my last name, and that returns Alex War. Now, the sum of all the ages in the ages array, the first one that we worked with, is over 100, so this is simply a Boolean testing to see if that is true. Now we start with 2 arrays of prices. Now the average of the first array is this. Now it doesn't necessarily have us portray the second average, but it does have us run a Boolean to see if the average of the first array is more than that of the second array. And that is in fact false. This one has a higher average. Now the second to last method I'll go over is whether or not I should buy a drink. Now it has 2 parameters, whether or not it's hot and whether I have enough money. Now the monetary amount is $10.50, and so I'm going to put yes, it is hot outside, and I have $11. Now because I was supposed to put true rather than yes, it will return false, and that is simply just the user inputting, trying to pay attention to what they should be putting. Now I could put a portion of code to accept yes, but it is a Boolean, and it does expect a Boolean input. Now, the final one is simply us trying to solve a problem, and the problem is how many cartons a farmer will need for his eggs. So he got 45 eggs, and he had 3 spaces left over in his last carton of yesterday. So he will need 4 egg cartons, and he'll have 6 empty spaces in his final container for tomorrow's eggs.